a bit about dragons, worms and snakes and such. In Nordic artwork, they keep popping up, probably because they're really cool animals or mythological beasts. From serpents that bite Ragnarlothbrok's skin and inject their venom into him and kill him at the end of his saga, to the mighty Jormungandr or Nidhogg in the mythologies. These serpentine creatures are important to the stories, and how the hell they came about is, a wonderful question. Not the snakes. I mean, that one's easy because snakes. But more about the bigger ones, the worms and the dragons, which, by the way, are creatures that tend to occur in every mythology on the planet in one format or another, from lindorms in Scandinavian mythology to the outrageously huge smay dragons of the Slavic mythologies, to, for example, Smaug in Tolkien's universe. This beautiful thing. Why am I talking about this? I'm talking about it because they're really cool creatures, and they have huge relevance for part of the mindset of the Viking Age. The fear of the unknown, for example, the fear of the big black sea, is very often described through the use of gods and goddesses, but also the fear of sea serpents, the fear of Jormungandr, to the extent that the Vikings decorated their own ships with dragon heads in the prow to strike fear into the hearts of the enemies. So, coffee break, 1 more. Through my career, I've become quite known for doing dragon sleeves, worm sleeves and such. I once had a whole sleeve of it myself as well, which has become part of a much larger Yggdrasil thing, and it's been blacked out and stuff. I'm more of a plant person. It's a popular theme, very popular theme, which is one of the reasons that our volume 2 depicts a worm, and there's a guide on how to make worms, and use different bits and pieces that we put into the books to create your own designs from it and learn, create it from scratch. But to jump back to the historical arts, dragon heads in the prows of ships, also arm rings that are clearly depicting scales of snakes or serpents. And a fun little thing about the whole snakes and serpents and worms, there's clear differentiation in the artwork between snakes and worms or similar creatures. So these snake designs that are very clearly snakes, very often depicted from above, so it's a head from above with 2 eyes and the slithering form, whereas worms tend to be depicted from the side with some limbs, occasionally wings if they're very lucky. There's not many of those examples around, but those that are very cool. When I discovered that, I had to change my entire perspective on how worms are depicted in Nordic mythology. I am currently wearing our Jormungandr t-shirt, designed by myself and the Raven from the North. I put that on purpose because I figured we would be filming this today, and then I forgot about it again. Because, brain. There are finger rings, arm rings, there are depictions on stones, there is depictions carved into bone and metal of worms. They are very important. They are mentioned in sagas depicting the normal humans, for example, Sigurd, Fafnir, Spain, and stuff like that. And then there are the mightier ones, like Nidhogg or Jormungandr, the child of Loki, that wraps around Middle Earth, strangling it in its mighty grip. They are continuously visible through Nordic mythology. They continue to exist through the Middle Ages, George the fucking Dragon Slayer, and all of that shit, and now we have them in Harry Potter. They're mighty, wonderful creatures. They have been depicted graphically through the ages by craftsmen through all cultures. Yeah. So because it is one of the most relevant elements in Nordic artwork, we did, well, each of these books has quite a few worms in there. But for this one, I made this elements, which are heads, claws, and terminals, as they're so nicely called, or tendrils, endings of different types, for worms. So that you can easily, kind of copy paste your own little thing. Do it on a piece of paper because it's much more healthy for you to do some creativity. We'll throw in some videos at some point about how I draw these beautiful, weird bastard creatures. But yeah, if it helps you, buy the book. I've always wondered why there's so few actual worms that are named in Nordic mythology when they are depicted in such insane abundance. But fuck that, we'll never find out because, Christianity came about and removed loads of interesting information, and the Vikings were lazy fuckers who didn't write things down really, so they can go fuck themselves. Thank you very much for listening. I hope it has been educational, and we'll make some more videos about this kind of weird shit.